Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Thursday, April 7th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am here to go over this NBA DFS 7-game main slate for this evening. And it has been challenging this week with all the teams resting players or tanking or all the other fun stuff that's going on. But we're going to try to find some strong edge for you here. I apologize for the cold. I do sound miserable today, and I feel miserable, but it is opening day of baseball. It is the Masters opening of the first round today, and we have this nice NBA 7-game slate. So I feel much better knowing that I've got some serious, awesome sports to watch here, and I'm planning on absolutely hammering away DFS-wise on Draftkings Fanduel and Yahoo. If you're watching this on YouTube, please take this second here, hit that thumbs up and the subscribe button. Also hit that little alarm in the upper corner. That'll let you know when any of our podcasts post. We're doing podcasts constantly, NBA, MLB, PGA. We also do Prize Picks podcasts for those as well. So we'd love to have you join the family here. Check us out, dfscoachtalk.com, and come in, join us, and let's win some money. All right, we're going to dive right in here. No messing around. Game 1, 7 o'clock, Orlando Magic, Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte favored by 13. We have a 231 total, 109 implied for Orlando, 122 for Charlotte. Injury-wise, we have Gary Harris and Admiral Schofield questionable for Orlando. Guys that are already out, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., and Franz Wagner. For Charlotte, it looks like a doubtful tag for Gordon Hayward. Everybody else suiting it up. So a lot of interest here. 231 is a nice number. And we've got some plays here that make sense. Markelle Fultz at 5.2 certainly comes in cheap enough. And we're going to be referring to DraftKings pricing here. But remember, FanDuel, there's been massive differences, $15 to $2,000. So, you've got to build these lineups per site without question. And then Yahoo's a whole separate thing. So, take the time if you're going to build on different sites here, because there's a lot of money to be made. And a lot of people just saying, screw this, I'm not doing it, or I'm not going to put the time in. And it gives us a big edge. Jalen Suggs will probably be in, but he's on a minutes limit, so I'm not going to go there. If you want to go on the cheap, you could look at Brazdeikis or Okiki. Bamba's coming off a monster game, so he's always in the conversation. And Mo Wagner, I think at 4.6 is a nice play. He's been getting a ton of minutes with all of these guys sitting. So Charlotte's defense has been an absolute sieve lately. They've been terrible. So definitely want some exposure from the Orlando side, and I think you can get it pretty cheap. For the Charlotte side, you've got some expensive guys. LaMelo's all the way up to 9.2, so questionable there if you want to go that direction. I will say, though, Rozier's bargain, 6.9, he's down there price-wise where he's very tempting here. Miles Bridges still in that same price range at about 7.9, but would consider him. Don't really want to go a whole lot deeper with Charlotte. I think that you're going to get a lot of scoring from their main guys, and I'm not worried about spending a little bit money there. All right, the next game is a 7:30 game. It's the Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks. Boston is a road underdog here. Milwaukee's favored by 6.5. It's a 227.5 total, 110.5 implied for Boston, 117 for Milwaukee. Injury-wise, Stauskas questionable for Boston. That still sounds weird to say. Morgan and Williams are out. For Milwaukee, we have a probable tag on Giannis. Grayson Allen, doubtful. I'm counting him out. And Vildoza also out. So, looking at this game, the question is, do you want to spend up? You got 10.5 for Tatum. You've got a 12-1 tag on Giannis. Certainly could go to either one of those studs if those are your buy-ups. It makes sense probably to balance them on both sides. But then there's other secondary options. Chris Middleton at 8.2, Jaylen Brown at 8.9. If you want to go second flight, they both make sense. Or you can even take another step, even though he's $200 more, but Drew Holiday's 8.4. But Holiday and Smart against each other, it's pretty tough defense there. Don't know if I want to go up to that. Smart is 6.2. The problem is, though, just depth here on both these teams. They've got all their key guys, other than Robert Williams for Boston, but everybody else is in, and everybody else is priced right. So Horford at 7.2, just a bit much for me. Brook Lopez went ballistic last game. He's only 5K if you think he can follow that performance up, but it is Boston here, so it's a little bit tougher. Not my favorite game here because of the pricing. Unless you want to go all the way up to the top, I certainly could see some reasoning to take Tatum and Giannis. But I think I may go very conservative in this game. Next game, again, I apologize. I am so stuffed up. Next game, 7:30, Philadelphia and Toronto. Philadelphia favored by 1 on the road, 220 total, 110.5 implied for Philly, 109.5 for Toronto. Matisse Thybulle out for Philly. And then we have two questionable players for Toronto. Anunoby, who played the last game, and Watanabe, who has not been in but is questionable here. So again, you have two teams that have a lot of their pieces in place and the prices to meet that. If you go up to Embiid, it's a 12K number. He certainly makes sense here, especially if Toronto goes slow or small and tries to play Siakam, at center there. But they do have Achua, Boucher, Young, Birch. They have a bunch of big guys they could use against Embiid. Not that it's going to stop them, but we'll see how they're going to adjust that lineup. James Harden's 10-2, which makes a lot of sense here as well. If Anunoby plays, he'll probably guard Harden. So I do want to see if Anunoby is going to be in or not. Pretty cheap price still on Gary Trent, 5.8. Fred VanVleet is very affordable now too. It's 7.8. So you could look, at VanVleet. He's due for a big game. Harden certainly in play. If you want to go up to the big boys, Embiid at 12 or Pascal Siakam at 9.5. But I don't know. I don't like the total here or the pace of this game. It is pretty slow. So I think maybe this is going to be another one of those games I'm not really crazy about. This next game I am, though. It's an 8 o'clock game, and you're going to say, Coach, you've lost your marbles. Well, you know what? It's the Pelicans minus 17, 224.5 total against Portland. But here's the thing. You got all kinds of crazy stuff happening here, and I'll explain it. But 103.75 for Portland implied, 120.75 for the New Orleans Pelicans. Any guys out? You've got Brandon Williams, questionable, so that is important. Hart, Watford, Winslow are already out. For the Pelicans, it's Joe Val that's questionable. So that creates a lot of interest. I'm really hoping he sits, and Zion is still out. So Hernan Gomez would be my center if Joe Val sits. So I love that cheap play there. Jackson Hayes is coming off a really good game. He's only 5'4". If you want to go up to McCollum or Ingram, just a little concern there that either one gets long enough run in a game here that could blow out. So more than likely going to the secondary cheaper guys on the Pels side. On the Portland side, if Brandon Williams sits, Chris Dunn is a terrific play. Certainly going to watch that news very closely. And then the guys that are in play other than that, really, Greg Brown has been consistent. Eubanks is back down at least 7K, was up higher. CJ Elleby gets a big run to 4.5 and McLemore 4.2. So that's really the gist of it. A lot of cheap prices, a lot of guys going to get 30 minutes plus. Big high score here. And I don't, to some extent, Portland is blowout proof because a lot of these guys, they're just playing out the season. So they're going to get minutes if they're up 5, down 10, down 15, whatever. So I feel comfortable going with a couple Portland guys easily, and then maybe bumpering it up with a few Pels, especially if Joe Val sits. All right, next one, 8 o'clock game also, San Antonio Spurs, Minnesota Timberwolves, Minnesota minus 8.5. Big fat 241, 116.25 implied for San Antonio, 124.75, the biggest number on the board for Minnesota. Super fast pace here is going to make this one really fun for DFS purposes. Injury-wise, we have Devin Vassell and Romeo Langford are probable. We have Lonnie Walker, the fourth, is questionable. We know Landale, McDermott, and, of course, DeJounte Murray are out. For Minnesota, we've got a questionable tag on Pat Bev, so we'll see if he's able to play. Malik Beasley, probable, and Jaden McDaniels looks like he's still questionable. We have to see if he's going to suit up or not. Hard to not go here for some guys just because of the pace and the lack of defense. Defense is not strong here. Trey Jones, great play at 5-3. Primo at 3-4. Little risk there, but he's solid. If Vassell plays at 6K, he makes sense. Keldon Johnson has been scoring for them. He's 6'8". Got to consider him a bit. And Pirtle at 6'5". So you still have some good, solid options here on the San Antonio side. For Minnesota, especially if Pat Bev sits, D'Angelo Russell's very fair at 6'8", and Anthony Edwards at 7'6". Both playable commodities here in this fast-paced, poor defense game. Jared Vanderbilt, not as crazy about him, especially now that Prince is getting minutes. McDaniels may be back. And then if you want to pay all the way up for Cat, certainly very plausible here. He's 9'6", which stings a little bit, but he's going to get plenty of possessions and handles. If the game stays in single digits like Vegas thinks, then you should have, no one should have trouble getting to their number in this game. So I will have some solid, ownership here from this game, and I think it's deservedly so. All right, two more games. 9 o'clock, Memphis and Denver. Denver's favored by 4.5. It's a 232.5 total, 114 applied for Memphis, 118.5 for Denver. As far as any injuries in this game, we've got Dylan Brooks questionable, and that's an important one to know. Doubtful for Ja Morant. I don't think he's going to play. Terry and Tilly are out. For Denver, you have Jeff Green, questionable personal reasons, so we'll see what that brings. And Kanchar may be back. He's questionable. Maybe a few minutes for him in the mix. Murray, Najee, and Porter all remain out. So this game's interesting. Teams have stuff on the line here. So this is going to be a hard-fought game. I think the Joker's the best pay-up on the slate. He is 12-6. I know it's expensive. But, they have something to play for here. It's in Denver. Memphis is scrappy. It's only a 4.5 spread. More than likely going to start a lot of my lineups with the Joker and then build from there. Other than that, on the Denver side, you're still getting some from Morris and Highland, but that split really bothers me. If Jeff Green sits, you'll get a little bit more action from Aaron Gordon at 6'6". You'll also get some Jermichael Green in there and some Austin Rivers. Not sure you need to go that deep here. Will Barton at 5'8" is fair if you want to go that direction as well. The Memphis side, Tyus Jones, again, super play at 6'2" when Ja's out. He just gets it done. He just plugs right in there. Desmond Bane at 7'5" can have a hot game, that's for sure. Dylan Brooks, if he's in at 6'6" with no restrictions, is not a bad play at all. And if you want to go to the two bigs, Triple J at 7'3" and Adams at 5'9" are very fairly priced. I don't think you really have to go to the bench here other than a consideration for DeAnthony Melton. But at 5'6", he's no giveaway anymore. All right, last game on the slate. It's the LA Lakers and Golden State Warriors. Who would think at the beginning of the year that this last week of the season, these two teams would be playing in these scenarios? Lakers out of even the play-in, and Golden State just trying to drag themselves into the playoffs here. It is Golden State by 12.5, a 222.5 total. 105 implied for the Lakers, 117.5 for the Golden State Warriors. It says here, and I'm just not believing it at all, it says Westbrook, James, and Davis are questionable. I don't think any of them play. Why is the question? Why would they play? I see no reason for it at all. And even though they're listed questionable here as we're posting this pod, I'm counting all three of them out. As far as Golden State goes, Otto Porter, questionable. And of course, Steph is sitting. So what happens here? If it does play out the way I'm thinking, you got to take a look at some guys here. Malik Monk at 6K would be a terrific play. Carmelo Anthony at 5K could be a very nice play. You may even get a good game out of Stone Cold 3K dead mid DJ Augustine or Taylor Horton Tucker at 4-2. So I'm looking at the Lakers side for a couple of super value plays with guys that I think can get close to 30 minutes. That's the goal, is pluck a couple Lakers out if those guys all sit that can get that playing time. For Golden State, Jordan Poole's been terrific at 8.5. Certainly has to be in consideration even at that high price. Klay Thompson, we know, is a bit risky and point dependent, and 7.8 isn't a giveaway, but he certainly can break some slates if he gets red hot. Draymond Green has not done much since he's come back from a DFS standpoint at 6.3. And then you're going to get a mixture of Porter, Payton, Kuminga, Bjelica, Iguodala. They're going to try to get all these guys minutes this week to get them ready for the playoffs. So not my favorite game, probably a pay up for one guy on Golden State and a couple of nice value plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. All right, that is it, my friends. 7 games, went right through it. Hopefully this is going to help you get those builds together. Again, I'm not expecting you to be able to build your final lineup from this podcast with all these changes this week. That's all going to change, by the way. Next week when the playoffs start, we'll be able to break these games down player by player. It'll be short rotations. We'll be able to just hammer away at the playoffs. But let's take advantage of this week with all these moving parts. There's still a lot of money to be made, and hopefully this podcast gets you, 3/4 of the way there. And then with news that drops, you can check it out with us in Discord. Just become a member at Coach Talk by going to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up for as little as a 3-day membership for $10. You get all of our NBA action this last Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You get our Masters coverage for weekend only that we put out Friday nights, of course, with opening day of Major League Baseball, all of our Major League Baseball picks. Also, we have Prize Picks Plays. We'll do a podcast here shortly for the NBA. Our baseball one is already up, and you'll get additional Prize Picks Plays in our Discord with our members. So we'd love to have you. If you're watching on YouTube, quick thumbs up. That's really appreciated. Hit that subscribe button. That means a lot to us as we're looking to move up that algorithm on YouTube. All right. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Prize Picks. If you haven't done it already, it's time to do it, especially with baseball starting on too. Go to prizepicks.com, sign up with the promo code Coach Talk, all one word, no space, and you get all the way up to $100 match, dollar for dollar, free with whatever you deposit. That match is put into your account, and you can really fire away. We've been killing it at Prize Picks, and we anticipate doubling up that killing now that we have baseball and basketball going, and we had some really sharp golf ones for the Masters up too. All right, thank you so much for listening in. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned for the Prize Picks podcast coming up later, and we'll certainly be back again tomorrow when we look to crush it in NBA DFS.